Coming up this Saturday, March 13th, live on Dazn, we're going to have a revisit of a fight that was off the charts. The WBC WBA Ring Magazine Super Flyweight Unification match between Roman Gonzalez Chocolatito and Juan Francisco Estrada. What's good, YouTube? Stormybman, and I'm back with another pre-fight video. Before we get started, I'd like to say shout out to the LDBC, Lions Den boxing community, Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This Saturday, broadcast on the Dazn app, promoted by Matchroom Boxing. March 13th will see the return match between Juan Francisco Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez for the WBC, WBA, and Ring Magazine Unified Championship. This rematch is seeing the two combatants face off again for the first time since November of 2012, where Estrada dropped a unanimous decision in a closely contested bout that saw both men giving as good as they could. Chocolatito at that time was facing off against Estrada for the World Light Flyweight title of the WBA. Chocolatito was also riding a wave of knockouts that saw him being highly touted by the HBO broadcasters as the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the sport. Funny how the tide does turn. With a record now of 41-3 with 28 KOs, Estrada is entering this bout not only bringing his title, but the two-time champion Gonzalez is looking to sort out problems that he had run into when they both had faced a common opponent by the name of Shareable Link. Estrada met up with Link after he had defeated Gonzalez. That was a tough fight for Link, who was very strong at the weight, was able to defeat Chocolatito in a majority decision in March of 2017. 6 months later, they fought a rematch that saw him stop Chocolatito in 4 rounds. And at that time, it looked like the caravan for Chocolatito had come to an end. It was a devastating knockout. Estrada, by the way, when he fought Link, he was able to utilize boxing, movement, hand speed, and angles, something that Link was having difficulty with because the man was not standing to fight with him and trade. But in their first fight, Estrada did have difficulty with Link himself. He lost a majority decision in 12 rounds, and that was also for the WBC Superfly title. Link is the type of fighter that will always be difficult for men in that division because he's very heavy-handed and he's strong at the weight. But I take it that what Estrada was able to pull away from the fight with was the fact that he could box more and use more versatility. Movement, in and out, staying busy with his hand speed, picking shots, throwing shots from various angles. Now, Gonzalez, with his last 4 opponents, 3 TKO stoppages, and in his last fight against Israel Gonzalez, he had a unanimous decision. That's when he brought back the WBA Super World Flyweight title. But this is the thing. Israel Gonzalez, was not on the same level as a proposed Roman Chocolatito. Now, as they head into this rematch and unification fight, the questions still remain for Chocolatito, because being on the downside of 30, at these lighter weights, fighters usually begin to really fall off, because at that small weight class, having to make the weight and put the abuse on the body as far as training, it really begins to show and take its toll. We see that Estrada is only 30, and he has a more versatile style, meaning that he can use movement. He doesn't have to stand in and be a pressure guy, which is what Chocolatito is. His record of 50-2 with 41 knockouts exemplify the fact that he's been a pressure fighter looking to bang his opponents out of there. Will he be able to do that against Estrada in this go round? I don't think so. I do believe he's going to try to put on a tremendous effort, but the game has one adage that is always rung true. You cannot outrun Father Time. And I believe, just due to the amount of fights he's had, the abuse and punishment he's taken, the weight he's had to make and cut, will be the difference here for Chocolatito. He still has a proverbial puncher's chance, but he's not a one-punch knockout type fighter. He's going to have to bang Estrada's body, limit his movement, get him in traps where he's sitting there to fight with him and try to win the exchanges when they sit down on their punches. But due to the fights that Estrada has had with Rungvisai, he understands that Chocolatito is not as strong as Rungvisai, but he can get away with the same type of game plan that allowed him to be successful in his rematch with Rungvisai. And that is using his boxing moxie, being able to use the skill set of moving around laterally, giving Chocolatito angles. I believe Chocolatito has slowed down a tad as well. So this is going to be the advantages for Estrada. The movement, being in and out, being quicker, being headier, and understanding that to control and dictate the tempo of the fight is to his advantage. There was something else that concerned me about Chocolatito as I watched his last fight against Israel Gonzalez. His face was starting to take that same type of battering and punishment and look of wear and tear that we've seen with Vasily Lomachenko in recent fights. That's the type of wear and tear from the sport of boxing, people. And when you get a certain age, it shows up on your face. It'll also show up in your reflexes as you're out there and you're fighting guys who can be quicker, who can move, just like Oscar Valdez did against Miguel Berchelt. That's the type of game plan that I could see Estrada having most success in this fight. But with his experience, Chocolatito can cut that ring off and put Estrada in circumstances like he did the first time they fought. and try to outpoint him by being the busier pressure fighter. This is a good mishmash of styles. One guy being versatile enough to do different things, and one guy who is very good at what he does, who will be able to offset the other's game plan, and who will be smart enough to take advantages when opportunities present themselves. This is why I really love the sport of boxing. It's a science and a chess match, all in the same. What do you guys think about this? Will Chocolatito be able to have that last hurrah and go on and become a unified champion under these circumstances? Or has Father Time finally caught up to him? It'll be up to Estrada to decide here, because Chocolatito has a win over him already, and it's the type of fight where he is going to have to pull this out and win in a decisive manner. Don't forget, Chocolatito was considered once the pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. Even though if many others didn't necessarily agree with that, he was awarded and anointed that. So he may give or receive certain favor in certain rounds. So Estrada has to be very careful and be mindful of this and secure rounds. Make sure he puts them in the bank for himself. My final thoughts on this are this. I see this fight playing out as a very good fight, a possible fight of the year type candidate, because these two men have a history and someone is going to want to provide separation between the two. If the fight goes on to another unanimous or majority decision, we could see a third bout at some point. But in this fight, I see Juan Francisco Estrada prevailing. I think that he has the type of style and the experience now of what to do against Chocolatito. And I do believe that Chocolatito is beginning to fade into the sunset. So I see Estrada pulling out a victory here, and maybe majority, maybe unanimous, but I do see him favorably. As far as Chocolatito, I think Father Time is caught up, and this will be a fight where he realizes that he is really not at the A level anymore. So leave comments. Let Stormybman know what your thoughts are regarding this great fight, and we'll talk about it. Leave comments and express your concerns over this fight. Or do you have any at all? Do you think that Chocolatito can turn back the hands of time? We'll see. This Saturday is up for a contest. This is Stormybman. That's all I have for you. Please, until we speak again, be safe and peace to everybody.